Hello YouTube, it is Saturday night and we're going to try and play a little bit of Phantasy Star Online. Last time we played was Wednesday night, if I remember correctly, and we did actually meet up with quite a few people. So I put a shout out on the Dreamcast Junkyard as well as the PSO Silver Rank group, so hopefully we'll be able to see a couple more people jump in and play a game. But other than that, it looks pretty quiet on Dreamcast Now, unfortunately. So who knows, people might have got their gaming in a bit early, but we will go on anyways and see what we can find. So rather than waste time, let's just jump right into the game and see what happens. First off, I have to apologize for the last time I threw the stream together because I was kind of screwing around with a bunch of OBS settings, and I didn't quite understand the settings that I used. So I was using the wrong encoder, and I was using a bunch of the different wrong settings and stuff like that on the encoder. So the last stream you might have seen was a little bit choppy, kind of cut in and out, unfortunately, but I think I might have it fixed tonight. So just let me know if you notice any dips in quality, and we'll kind of try and resolve this together, because unfortunately with the stream you can't just stream privately. You're sort of got to go live and just hope for the best. So we'll see if we run into any issues tonight, but other than that, everything is going fantastic. Just cracked myself a nice cool Keith and hoping to get an hour or so in before we got to get ready for work in the morning. I didn't really do too many pickups this week since the last time I was online. That was mostly because I just couldn't find anything, to be quite honest. In fact, this morning, Saturday, I got up early around 6 o'clock, and by 7, I was out in the community and I was biking around looking for some yard sales and things like that. And, you know, there was a lot of stuff, but it was just nothing that I would ever use. Like, it was a lot of, you know, baby clothes and things like that, which, hey, I need, but I've got tons of right now at the house. And just kind of odds and ends crap. I've really been kind of getting dissuaded with garage sales over the last, oh geez, maybe like 5 years or so. I used to love it. Used to find all sorts of really cool shit. Even up till about maybe 8-10 years ago, I used to find video games and stuff like that all the time. And it was actually one of those situations where there were so many available, much like thrift stores used to be, that you could pick and choose. You didn't just have to grab whatever was available. Oh cool, we got some interesting players on tonight. Oh wow, nice old school players. Let's just say hello first. Yeah, so like it kind of got I don't know, a little bit tight over the last 5 years or so. Generally, I'll go up to a yard sale, and if I see something that looks kind of junky, like maybe some pretty generic electronics or something like that, I'll look at the price, and if somebody wants, like, I don't know, like $50 for a VCR, I generally tend to just keep walking. So actually, before we join a team, let's see who's in the game right now. Choice search, any. Okay, Jaxer we were playing with the other day, so they were pretty cool. Let's see if we can maybe get a game started with them. And Usagi's just going to the Garen, but Usagi is a pretty tight player as well, and Enfilade we've had a lot of fun with as well in the past. So maybe we'll wait to see if they're going to the Garen just to boost up one of their weapons, or if they're planning on coming back and starting up a regular quest. Okay. Well, you know what? I think Enfilade is AFK right now because they're not really responding to much and they're not really moving around. I'm going to assume that Usagi is... Let's see. Let's join Usagi right now. Oh, quest is in progress. That's right, because they're in the Garen quest. Alright, fair enough. Well, you know what? Let's join our friend here in Very Hard and see what we can do. Okay, so yeah, I'm biking around this morning and I'm looking for yard sales and things like that. And it was a nice day here in Toronto, so I thought, you know, there'd be lots of people out. You know, it's the start of June, and it's kind of prime season. Are you logging off for the night? And yeah, it's so dry out there, but also I think a lot of it is when I see yard sales posted, especially online. Oh, I need to start a new game. Okay, cool. A lot of the times when you see it posted in like a Facebook group, or if you see people posting for yard sales in a Kijiji or like a newspaper ad or something like that, you get people that try and contact them in advance and say, hey, do you have X, Y, and Z? And if you do, hold on to it, I'll buy it. Or if you do, I can be there tonight, take a look at it and pick it up. So you generally get a lot of those really early bird snipers, and you also get these people that even come earlier than I do. Like generally I head out around 7:30, 7 o'clock or so, because that's typically when people start setting up in the morning. But you'll oftentimes have people that show up before then. Like people will just be opening up the door, opening up their garage, and they'll just be barnstorming in saying, hey, what do you got? And it's pretty invasive. I know that I've had it happen to me when I've had yard sales as well. You know, I'll just get out the door and I'll have people coming up to my porch digging through my boxes, and I'm like, you know, fuck off. I'm just getting set up. I haven't even had a coffee yet. I'm like, do you have any music instruments? Do you got any records? Do you got any video games? It's like, actually one guy I kind of trolled. I was trying to set up on the yard and he just bikes up, throws his bike on my lawn. He's like, hey, you got any video games? And I just kind of played it dumb, and I was like, oh man, sorry, I just got rid of them and all. He's like, why would you get rid of? I was like, oh, I don't know, I just had a box of this like Nintendo stuff. It wasn't really, it was like old games. It really wasn't anything special. It's like, he starts huffing and puffing. He's like, what do you mean it was like old games? And I was like, oh, I don't know, there's like, I don't know, like maybe 100 games or so like that, but it was like nothing special. It was just like an old Nintendo, you know? And the guy was just looking at me fuming. He's like, how much did you sell it for? And I was like, well, the guy offered me $60. You know, I thought it was a pretty good deal. It was just a bunch of old Nintendo games, you know, like, what am I going to do with that? And the guy just got furious and he started swearing and everything. And then he wandered off on his bike, and I couldn't help but laugh afterwards. My girlfriend fucking hated it, but it was funny. If you start a team, I'll jump in. See who else is on board. Which actually is funny because it reminded me of this thing that I heard on what's that podcast? The CU podcast. I was listening to that on my way to work, and they talked about this guy who did a Craigslist troll where he had a fake yard sale somewhere in I think it was like New Jersey or something like that, and posted a bunch of these troll pics to get people interested, and it just ended up being a whole gang of these, like, mostly dudes, I guess, just sitting in the field. Clearly there was nothing there, right? Actually, one time, maybe about, probably 10, 12 years ago. Okay, join team, can we jump in? Awesome. I knew this girl, and we were just friends. We were hanging out and we were having some beers at her apartment one time, and I didn't really know much about Toronto. I just had moved there and I was just starting to meet some people. We were hanging out and she says, hey, do you want to have some fun? And, you know, I was like, yeah, sure, of course, that's why I'm here. She probably didn't say, hey, do you want to have some fun? But I'm paraphrasing. So she fires up the computer and she goes to Craigslist, and this is when they used to have personals ads, so you could get like a date for the night and stuff like that. It was basically prostitution. And she grabs a couple of random pics off a Google image and just says, hey, I'm like this horny 20-year-old and I just want a date for the night and stuff like that. And kind of makes it like really provocative, but to me very obvious. And nearly immediately she's getting inundated with messages from, I guess, dudes, right? And she fires it up and she introduces herself to a couple of these guys and stuff like that. And they start asking her like, you know, what are you interested in? What do you want to do? Blah, 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 like just pervy stuff for the most part. Like, who the fuck thinks somebody's gonna just post on Craigslist, hey, fuck me, and it's actually legit? But I guess there's these people that think that's a thing. So anyways, she says, you know, keeps leading them on with 2 or 3 messages just to see if they're genuinely interested, and then gets a couple guys on the hook and just like, you know, come meet me at this apartment here, just meet me outside the lobby, you know, I'll buzz you in. So after about, I don't know, half an hour of messaging people and stuff like that, let's go to the ruins. After about half an hour of messaging people, we start having a smoke on our balcony, and we look down. She was like on the 10th floor or something like that, and we start seeing, it's almost like something out of the Night of the Living Dead, like these kind of guys kind of creeping around this big open courtyard up to the front door, and they're just sort of standing there. They're not coming up to the front door or anything like that. A couple people looked like they tried to hit the buzzer, but you see like 2, 3, at one point I think there was like at least 8 guys sitting there in the courtyard. And you know, they weren't really looking at each other, but I think they must have known the jig was kind of up. So anyways, we both go downstairs for a cigarette, just kind of pretending that we're just kind of chilling out, and we start overhearing conversations that these guys are all having with each other. And eventually they kind of realize that they've been set up and stuff like that and wander off. But like, you couldn't do that today. You'd think that you're going to be killed. I just thought it was absolutely hilarious because, of course, here I am, this naive country boy going to Toronto for the first time. This girl's setting up these dudes on this date, and I don't know, it was pretty funny. Pretty cruel, but pretty funny. What else are you going to do when you're like 20 years old? All right, snap, snap, snap. Well, the good thing with the runes on very hard is we know we can beat it, but we also generally find some cool shit. And it's good to keep the quest open just in case more people want to jump in as well. We don't necessarily want to burst into a quest if, you know, another person's going to join the game and they want to play, because they can't really force themselves into quests. Hey, Jelly Goober, welcome aboard, buddy. Okay, let's feed our mag too while we're thinking about it. We don't want to... Oh, I can't yet. Okay. Thought more than enough time had passed, but I guess not. But you know, that's always been one thing. Like, I have been getting rid of a lot of stuff that I've accumulated over the last, I don't know, lifetime, I guess. Just desperately trying to clear out the clutter. You know, I've been one of those guys that since I was very, very young, I just hung on to everything. And I don't know why. Like, it's most of it isn't even necessarily a collection. It's just random odds and ends of stuff. I guess part of me does feel nostalgic for some of these things, and that's why it's hard to part with it, but who knows? Just that little source of comfort of holding on to some old things, I suppose. But in the last couple of years, I've realized, like, okay, a lot of this stuff is not useful to me. A lot of it doesn't necessarily have any sentimental value. And let's face it, a lot of it is like nobody cares about, like, who am I holding on to this stuff for? Who am I curating this stuff for? So I've been purging, and a lot of the times I use Facebook because it seems to be the quickest and most reliable, but other times I'll use things like Craigslist and occasionally eBay. I typically don't like to use eBay because not only are the fees, I shouldn't say ridiculous, you know, it is a service that gives you access to the worldwide market, so it is what it is, right? But it does eat in quite a bit to your profit margin, or even just breaking even. So, you know, say you sell it, you have a DVD and you want to get rid of it for 10 bucks. Somebody gives you 10 bucks, maybe 4 bucks shipping, because you can typically send a DVD by letter mail for like $3.33 within Canada. Depending on the weight, you can sometimes get away with sending it from Canada to the US for about $5, just oversized letter. But more often than not, you want to send it via small packet air, which costs you about $8. Now, I know there's some sort of new deal with PayPal and Canada Post, where you're supposed to get some sort of discount or something like that on shipping, but I haven't looked into it too much. It looks kind of convoluted because, you know, you have to have a proper scale to weigh everything at home and stuff like that. And I'm not sure what happens if you're over or under or whatever it is. Like, do they just hold a package or do they send it back? I just find it more convenient to just go to the post office, and I use a venture card, which if you're in Canada and you don't have a venture card, you should really look into it. It's a free card. You just register for it at the Canada Post website, and what it does is it gives you 5% off all shipping. It doesn't include letter mail, but all shipping for parcels, it adds up after a while. You know, if you're sending a large parcel, like let's say something costs you $25 to ship, 5% is kind of nice, and it's a free service as well. You just sign up for it with your business. Like my business is just my name, and that's it. You just show your card whenever you're ready to mail things, and you can mail whatever you want to give you a discount. And actually, sometimes they have some pretty cool promotions. Like in October, every Monday is one free parcel shipped, which, you know, it's fantastic. You just find something nice and heavy, and there you go. You just get rid of it then. But anyways, yeah, between the shipping costs, which can sometimes be quite a bit, and I don't always calculate things accurately. Sometimes I'll undervalue what a shipping cost is for whatever reason, and then that'll cut into your overhead as well. So sometimes you'll get this nice little dump of money in your PayPal, and you'll think, oh sweet, I got a lot of cash. And then when you have to pay the fees, and then when you have to take into account what you actually paid for the items, you know, you did buy it at one point, and then you also have to take into account shipping and the cost of shipping. And let's face it, time is money too. If it's taking you like half an hour to get a package ready, that's half hour of your time. So for $10, that's whittled down to like $6.50 or whatever it is that you cost. Like, is your time really worth less than minimum wage at that point? I don't think so. So yeah, I kind of try to get rid of things in a way where it's like I know it's going to be worth my time to get rid of it. And then the other option also is bulking too. So DVDs, for instance, you guys have seen me show you a few DVDs here and there, and I don't know, I'm still one of those people that likes collectors DVDs and Blu-rays. I just find them, for some of my favorite films, and I just find them fascinating. And actually, there's a lot of films that I liked that, you know, didn't get a proper release, and even then when they were released on DVD at some point, maybe 20 years ago, it was only full frame, and when it was full frame, it was like mono audio with pretty bad transfers. So then you got companies like Shout Factor and Kino Lorber and Arrow Video and what else? Kino Video and stuff like that, like or Kino Classics, which is part of Kino Lorber. You got them really taking these properties that everybody has forgotten about and just giving them the royal treatment, and it's beautiful. Like some of these movies I never thought I'd be able to see in like their true aspect ratio. Recently I picked up a copy of The Boneyard, which previously only had a kind of like a bootleg DVD release, more or less. It was full frame, it looked terrible. And then they put this new 1080p Blu-ray transfer on it. It looks fantastic. Like I'm just blown away. By the way, The Boneyard, fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it before, I suggest watching it. And the DVD or Blu-ray rather, will not break the bank. It's a really cool package. It's got a lot going on in it, and I think it's like $20 Canadian. So if old horror movies interest you, I cannot suggest The Boneyard enough. But anyways, what I was getting at with the whole eBay thing and stuff like that is, yeah, it's a service. It costs money. You just kind of got to make sure that, you know, having access to the global market, you make whatever you're getting rid of worth your time. Otherwise, you know, it's anything you think that you're making, you're going to realize quickly that you're just getting whittled, you know, death by a thousand cuts with all these like service fees from PayPal and eBay, and, you know, the cost of shipping and all this kind of stuff. Everything I mentioned before. But with local stuff, you know, you might you'll probably sell something for a little bit less because everybody checks on eBay for what something's worth nowadays. It's quite frustrating whenever you go to like a thrift store or you go to a yard sale and everybody's got their iPhone out. Now, that said, I think, I'm not going to say I was one of the pioneers of that, but I certainly was one of the first people that would go to yard sales in my estimation anyways. I'm probably wrong, but one of the first people to go to the yard sales and stuff like that with a smartphone. It was probably my iPhone 3G at the time, and just look up the value and look up different things just to see if it was like worth anything at these yard sales. And sure enough, you know, it kind of worked to my advantage. I was able to price match, and I was sometimes able to get things for some pretty good deals, or at least I would know what to offer if things didn't have a price on them, which came in pretty handy. But with Craigslist and Kijiji, the one thing you've got to look out for, the fucking lowballers. Lowballers and no-shows. Big problem when trying to sell stuff in those kind of mediums. So it's a free service, of course. You don't have to pay anybody to use it. They make their money, I guess, through advertising or however. But you'll generally get very generic responses. People will say, hey, I'm interested, contact me if this is still available. 9 times out of 10, you're never going to hear anything back if you reply. Oftentimes, when you do hear a reply back, I would say 3/4 people want to bargain, which is fine. Sometimes, you know, I'm up for an offer if it's reasonable, but the low ball offers are what get me. So like, say you have something priced at $80 and somebody wants to offer you 10, and then they want to know if you can deliver it to them. And then when you ask where they're being delivered, like it's hundreds of kilometers away, which happens all the time. And then people are like, well, I'll pay you for gas if you show up. Now, here's the other problem too, the no-shows. So sometimes you'll work something out, you think something's going to happen, you're all excited and everything like that. And you say, okay, here, meet me at this Tim Hortons or something, and we'll do the deal. And you go there, and then they might message you. You'll wait around for 5 or 10 minutes. You'll text back. Now, typically I don't text either because I hate giving my phone number out to strangers. So oftentimes I'll only want to communicate through email. So you communicate through email, and I'm saying stuff like, you know, I'm at Tim's, where are you? And like 5-10 minutes later, you might hear like, oh, you know, I'm sort of stuck in traffic. Sorry about that. I'm running a little bit late. And you're like, okay, cool. When can you make it here? And like 5-10 minutes later, you hear, oh, I'll be there in like 15 minutes. You're like, oh, for fuck's sakes, I'm already cutting you a deal. And you're already late. So wasted my time. And then like a half hour pass, and you find out that, fuck, these people are not coming at all. And then they end up ghosting on their emails. Sure, dude. Whatever turns your crank, amigo. Alright, so we've got a Joker here, Mr. Achilles. Yeah, so you got the no-shows. You end up waiting around. I don't think I have it. You end up waiting around, and people just end up ghosting. They stop replying to their messages, and you know, just nothing happens, and it's extremely frustrating. But it's one of the things. So you kind of got to suss it out. You got to read between the lines when you start getting these emails. You got to sort of suss out how serious people are, get them talking. If somebody sends you a message to say like, I've got I don't know, like I got a guitar for sale and I want $80 for it, and the reply isn't even like a hey, how's it going? All it is 20, and that's it. Like, I don't respond to those. Fuck that guy. So I'm not going to bother bargaining with the person or whatever. But then say you get a message where it's like, you know, I'm really interested, but I don't get paid for 2 weeks. Can you hold on to it? I often just say like, hey, if it's here in 2 weeks, hit me back. But you know, it's first come, first serve. Sometimes people are okay with that, and oftentimes people get really frustrated. But you know, I have held on to. Okay, let's give our send to Jackster, send to Achilles. Okay, cool. Yeah, so people want you to hold on to it and end up holding on to it, and then the time comes where they're supposed to pick it up and they just don't show. Now, sometimes people do show, but more often than not, you know, if they can't hustle up 80 bucks to buy something, then maybe they shouldn't be buying what I'm trying to sell. It is me. Who is this? Don't you got a YouTube channel? I suspect this fella is maybe trolling us a little bit, but that's okay. He seems like a good troll, so let's have fun with him. Yep, that's me. Streaming at the moment. You're live to the world, so behave. Right on, right on. Wade Wilson. I believe that person is on Dreamcast Junkyard. DCJK. Wade Wilson. Okay, Soul Atomizer, we might as well grab it. Yeah, we'll grab that as well. So I found the most optimum way of getting rid of things, because Craigslist is kind of unreliable, is just through Facebook. As much as I don't use Facebook for things like talking to people really anymore, like occasionally I'll browse a few profiles on my private message somebody, but I definitely don't post a bunch of things on my wall looking for attention or anything like that. Just nothing that I am interested in putting out there. But I use the marketplace quite frequently, and I just find that there's more accountability to the Facebook marketplace. Like, you can kind of go over a person's profile and see if they're legit. Like, if somebody has had a profile for 10 years or whatever, and you know that they're in the area, and I'll even look at photos and make a judgment call. Like, I'll look at it and be like, okay, cool, well, this person wants to buy, like, say I'm selling some baby toys or something like that. They want to buy some baby toys, and I look at their picture and they've got a bunch of young kids. I'm like, okay, cool, these people are probably pretty legit. They're probably not going to ghost on me. Let's make a deal. But going to sleep already. Okay, just typing in Spanish. All right. So yeah, like, I find that when you end up using the Facebook marketplace, there's just a lot more accountability to the sale and follow-up. And you know, if somebody doesn't follow through, or if somebody is a repeat offender and ghosting and stuff like that, you can always report them to an admin, and you know, they'll get kicked out of the group or whatever it is. But I also belong to a lot of these really dedicated trading groups too, which is an even more excellent way to do business, because a lot of these people, like, they're serious about whatever it is they're interested in buying, selling, trading, or anything like that. So right now, Wade here, who I think is from the Dreamcast Junkyard, and I know that he's been subscribed for a little while. You know, the people in there, if they want to do a deal, and they've been posting for years and stuff like that, and I've developed a pretty good rapport for them, like, I'll certainly do business, even though there's probably zero accountability. Like, typically when you do business with people that don't live in the same city, like, let's say you end up doing business with somebody like in like I live in Canada, you're doing business with somebody in America, but you know, you've been chatting with them for a little while, you trust that they're probably going to deliver. You don't really want to send things through, like you want to pay them generally through PayPal because it's the easiest, but you don't want to send it through any kind of business way, because then they'll end up getting taxed on their end, which is kind of unfair to them. And the other thing too is that if anything goes wrong, you can always file a claim with PayPal and get your money back, which is another reason people don't like doing that. So the best way to send money to people in those situations, if they're selling you something like, let's say it's 15 bucks shipped, you want to send it to them via friends and family, because that means that they won't be charged any fees or anything like that. Plus, you know, it's money in, money out. It's pretty secure on their end as well. They know that you're not going to try and claim that you didn't receive an item and then get your money back and stuff like that either. So that's kind of like the best way to do that. But yeah, I belong to a lot of these trading groups for multiple years now by this point, and I've done so much business over them and got some really cool shit and got rid of some really cool shit. It's been a pretty symbiotic relationship with me in those groups, and sometimes to my detriment, because there have been times where I've had a lot of buyer's remorse, but I'm like, well, you know, whatever, I committed to it. You know, it was like a DVD or a Blu-ray or something like that, where I realized after some point that, oh man, I don't necessarily need this shit. So, you know, what do? You suck up your loss and maybe you try and resell it or something like that to recoup a couple of bucks, but you definitely don't throw somebody under the bus for, you know, your mistake effectively. So yeah, I personally prefer Facebook for doing a lot of that business. I find it to just be the most, not necessarily reliable, because people do ghost and stuff like that, so there's always that, but definitely if you're gonna hedge your bets on what your best chance of getting rid of something is, it's probably Facebook. And I've even become like so comfortable with doing a lot of Facebook trades that I'll do porch pickups. I've never been screwed over, and it's just easier, you know, like I can set something up with somebody who I see in a group that's local, and I'll be like, you know, it's 10 bucks, it's in a bag on the porch, just throw the money in my mailbox. And I've seen people say that they get ripped off by doing that, and I can understand how easy that would be, but I think the majority of people out there are good people. So I don't think, you know, I don't think everybody out there in Facebook land is a crook that's just trying to steal your money. And typically I won't do that for super expensive items. I had a friend of mine who sold some collectible action figures that way. He ended up arranging a porch pickup with this fella who clearly stole it. Like, he had one of those Nest high definition cams, caught him taking the box off his porch and not putting any money in the mailbox. Then he texted my friend back shortly afterwards and said, you know, like, what gives, man? I came all the way out here to pick up this thing and it's not even there. And he's like, oh really? Because I've got a video of you that I've sent to the police of taking it off my porch without paying. And then the guy ghosted, and I was like, man, you shouldn't have like tried to out him so quickly. You should have kept him talking, because he could have had a burner phone, and you know, you don't necessarily need to have, you know, any credentials affiliated with it. It could have just been one of those things where you buy and you pay as you go. You don't have to associate with a credit card or anything like that. But I don't know, he was pissed off, he got hot-headed. The guy went radio silent and he never got his money back, and even though the police had a picture, they're like, I don't know, what do you want me to do with this? Police are pretty good at writing reports, not so great at solving crimes, I've discovered. But I digress. I think so. But yeah, generally if it's over 30 bucks, I'm gonna make sure that I arrange something in person. I just don't trust porch pickup. The only time I ever did that was with a record player that I got rid of for 60 bucks with a guy I didn't know, but he seemed like really legit. He was an older fella according to his Facebook profile, but you know, anybody could start up a Facebook profile like that, I suppose. And you know, I just trusted him to do it. And it was for 60 bucks for the record player, and he followed through. So 31 years old. Isn't that a bit old to be playing video games? Shouldn't you be doing something else? I'm just gonna troll Achilles for a little bit. I'm a 37-year-old dad. I was just getting his blood boiling. Hopefully he forgives me. I am trolling. Okay, let's not use the racial epithets. Let's try and keep things PG-13 in this little conversation. I like my friend Wade, but you know, sometimes that kind of language does not translate well over the written form. Okay, what do we got going on here? Okay, Mad Polar Bear, awesome. Glad that you got the PSO version too. ZZYJ, I am glad that my videos help with your depression and loneliness. Hey man, anything that I can say that gets you through the day, that's great. And you know, I've been told my voice has some sort of ASMR type affect to it, so whatever that means. Joshua Packman, yeah, I think what was happening with my live stream was I thought that the best way to do it was to upload the highest quality video and just trust that YouTube had it all figured out on their end, not realizing that they also have a cap for handling what information that I'm sending them. So even though my upload is currently well over 300 megabits per second, which is fucking crazy, I was uploading at lossless, and that's where the problem was. And I was also using the wrong encoder. I wasn't using the H.264 encoder. I was using the one that's affiliated with my GeForce graphic card. So it's an H.264, but it's a proprietary one. And I guess that means YouTube's going to have to re-encode it on their end as well, which sort of makes the stream look a little bit choppy. So far I've been getting pretty good stream health, so I'm kind of hoping that it looks half decent after everything's rendered. The other thing too was I was using 60 frames per second, and I was using 1080p, which I've actually kept still. It should be still running at 60 frames per second. But I think what the issue was that oh shit, okay, let's use some of these items first. Can we grab that? Sweet. Item. ASVGA to at Lona HD 500 HDMI ups VGA to HDMI upscaler captured through Elgato game cap streaming 1080p 60 FPS right now. I haven't tried the wide screen yet. It looks fantastic if you have a decent upscaler. Wait for the new component cable from, what's that company called? Let's just do a quick Google search. Dreamcast component. HD Retrovision. HD Retrovision. I have a Acura. It sucks. It just transcodes, no upscale, and you can't play a lot of games because they won't play over VGA. The component cable will play everything and probably look just as good. Component can transfer HD video, but I think HD Retrovision said it maxes at 480p. Yep. They made, it's not out yet. They made a prototype, but the one for SNES is great. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you're wondering what we're talking about, it's just getting the best kind of picture quality out of your Sega Dreamcast. And currently, I think the way I'm doing is probably a little bit more advanced than you need to be. Like, I think the Acura will work for most people, but not if you're going to stream, not if you want to play all the games, because like I said, even though it'll transfer a pretty flawless signal over HDMI, you are limited to the amount of games that you can play because it still suffers the limitations of not being able to play all the games that you can play over that are compatible with, not compatible rather, with VGA. Now, if you're just playing a regular system, you can trick it using like Codebreaker or something like that, but it's a bit frustrating. So this new component cable from HD Retrovision sounds really fascinating because it'll transfer like a true 480p signal, and component, even though it's still an analog signal, looks really, really good, especially if you've got a decent built-in upscaler on your television, and it'll play all the games. So I'm really, really interested to see what this does. Like, I'm really interested to see how this cable looks. I'll definitely be buying it. It's just a matter of them actually releasing it. Now, they announced it about a year ago now, and so far nothing's really come of it. But given the fact that they followed through with their cable for the SNES and the Sega Genesis, and everybody gave it quite a lot of praise, actually, I have no reason to suspect that they won't follow through with the Dreamcast one. The market is just too big right now. It's kind of amazing, you know, like, what is it there? Is it Hyperkin rather? Is it Hyperkin or Retrobit? I can't remember. One of those companies is actually releasing officially licensed Sega peripherals for the Sega Dreamcast and Genesis and Saturn, I think, actually. So you can now get like an officially licensed Sega VGA box if you want for, you know, whatever it costs, $60. If you want to buy the official Sega VGA box on the used market, you're looking at spending upwards of $200. You can buy the fight pads, which will be very cheap. An official Bluetooth controller, which is a fantastic option for most people. And I think you can actually buy standard controllers and stuff like that too if you really, really need them. So good on them. And like I said, the market's pretty hot. Like, there's really no reason not to do that. I think the fan base is there, and it's been pretty good at picking up these items and making them worth the while of the people that are producing them. So now Achilles also mentioned, am I using the USB gd-rom? And I am. So I thought I'd let you guys know that there's two versions that you can get. You can get the USB gd-rom, which is what I'm using now, and it's available anytime you want. It's from this guy named Nemo in Germany. I've mentioned it before. The product is fantastic. Its customer service is not great, but I suspect part of that is also a language barrier. So, you know, all is forgiven. But he's really hard at getting back to you at messages, and you just gotta kind of trust that he'll mail you whatever it is that you need. He doesn't expect any follow-up or anything, but he's been doing it for years. Nobody really knows much about him. So it's a good product. It'll cost you about 200 Canadian dollars. The other alternative is the SD gd-rom, which is the one that most people really covet for some reason. I don't understand why, to be quite honest. It's good. It does the trick, but it's nothing that the USB gd-rom won't do. I think maybe the read speeds might be a bit faster because there's more pinouts on it, but I haven't really done a compare and contrast on what the read speeds are on SD and USB. Now that said, if you get a decent, like right now I'm playing on my USB gd-rom and I've never noticed any lag, I've never noticed any frame drops or anything like that. Everything's been super smooth. It's been a really excellent experience playing with the USB gd-rom. But for some reason everybody wants to get the SD gd-rom. I don't know what it is. It must be a good, I think it's probably like, okay, so I will admit this. The big difference between the USB gd-rom and the SD gd-rom is the interface. Now, you guys see me load up the USB gd-rom. It looks like you're entering like a sort of like a basic like a BIOS type menu or something like that. It's really not that pretty, but it does the trick. Now, the cool thing about the SD gd-rom is that it has more like a graphic user interface. It can show you some cover art and stuff like that. Like it looks a little bit nicer. So I can see why people might be more attuned to that one. But the thing is, you can only get it from this one guy. He has like a WordPress blog. He makes 20. Basically it's first come, first serve. When they're out, and then you got to wait another 6 months for another order to be made. I don't know why he chooses to have people wait so long. So typically people will get them for, you know, I think it's about 150 Canadian dollars or something like that. And then you'll see them being flipped on eBay for, you know, 400 or 500 Canadian dollars, which is just insane. But it's insane when you consider you can get a USB gd-rom pretty much anytime you want for a fraction of that price. So where am I going with this? Well, the thing is, this was only a matter of time, and it's finally happened. It appears as though somebody's finally cloned the SD gd-rom. I think it's one of the problems with having such a limited supply is that if the market knows there's a demand for it and it's going for quite a bit of money, you know, you can only keep holding your market captive for so long before somebody's going to take advantage of it. So now it's been cloned, and it is going for less than half of what you can get on the WordPress site. Some people have questioned the quality, but everybody that's picked it up so far ordered it and tried it out, so they haven't had any issues. So I don't see a problem with it. I'll probably end up picking one up just for curiosity's sake. But if you are interested in going the SD route or USB route, I can definitely suggest the USB gd-rom. It's a great little addition to my Dreamcast collection. I've never had a problem with it. It runs everything pretty much perfectly. So yeah, no issues here. But if you want to get the SD gd-rom. If you need to go that route, it appears as though you might have an alternative to waiting for this WordPress blog to make them available. So, hey, give it a try. When I do get one, I'll definitely let you know if it's worth picking up. But again, at this time, I couldn't tell you one way or another. I just know it's available. I haven't had a chance to try it yet. I do have a couple bucks in the PayPal kitty, so I might give it a shot, just for laughs. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be compatible with the firmware updates that are being provided by the guy who does the WordPress blog. I assume that this is still his sort of bread and butter, so he'll probably be on top of it, knowing that there's clones. Game is pretty good at detecting cheats. So who knows? Maybe he's going to try and defend his intellectual property, but right now it's only available at a few sites. But give it time. It's going to be just like all of those cloned NES carts and stuff like that. Like, used to be able to get them at a few sites, and then all of a sudden on Alibaba at any time of the day you can get very high quality repros of pretty much any game that you want. So I'm thinking that AliExpress is probably going to be inundated with resellers for these SD gd-rom units within the next year. Just trust me on this. Now, is that a good thing? No. I kind of like the idea of the quality and control of whoever is releasing them on the WordPress thing. But that said, I don't think anybody really knows anything about this WordPress guy. Like, what are their background or anything like that. Now, nobody's ever had a problem with the SD gd-rom. It seems to work pretty flawlessly for the most part. Haven't heard about anybody having to do returns. There's been a couple of different revisions. I think right now it's on revision 5.5. So, you know, some people, I don't know what those revisions would be. If you had an earlier version of it, maybe it's compatibility, who knows. But right now, the clone that's being sold is the 5.5, which is the most recent version of the SD gd-rom. Nobody as of yet has been making clones of the USB gd-rom, but I'm sure that'll come down the pipe eventually. You know, it's only a matter of time. As soon as these people know that there's this market available, you're going to see a lot of the competitors start coming out and making their knockoffs, which again isn't a terrible thing. I want more people to have access to it. And you know what, if you're a game collector and you just want to collect games, like if you're not collecting them for an investment purpose, like I would love to have a full Dreamcast library at some point, which is really attainable because I've got a lot of the heavy hitters already. The only ones that I don't have that cost a little bit of money are things like Cannon Spike, which is about a $200 game, so I could probably pick it up anytime I wanted to. It just, I don't really want to spend that kind of money on a game at the moment. So we will be okay. Hopefully I can draw fire. Okay, I'm good to go whenever, so let's just see what happens. So yeah, if you're interested, give it a shot. Just Google it. I can't remember the website that is currently selling them, but apparently they're fairly reputable too, so. Alright, what's going on in the chat? How much did I pay for my VGA Upscaler? I think I've got mine for about $120. Now, I've seen them go as high as $200. Again, it was a bit more than I wanted to spend, but Atlona makes basically cream of the crop upscalers. They're a really big company, and they've got tons of different products. And in fact, they've got a better version of what I'm currently using right now. They've got, I don't know what the specs on it are exactly, but it's basically an updated version of my HD 500. And to buy it new, I think is it's not cheap, but you're looking at getting an extremely high quality product, which I think is kind of worth it if you're really going to be doing a lot of gaming. Just because like you have so many different options. It has a built-in filter menu which gives you the option to do, you know, you can output it in any kind of aspect ratio you want, any kind of frame rate that you want. You can export it in any kind of like video type that you want and stuff like that. Like it's pretty amazing. It's a bit overkill, but if you really want to tweak with settings and stuff like that, if you're one of those people that wants to have those options, I'd say the Atlona products are the way to go. You can't go wrong with them. The one problem I did have with my Upscaler is that the HDMI jack was a little bit loose, and even now it's a little bit loose, it'll give me problems sometimes, but it's a minor issue, and I just try to be on top of it. I was thinking about opening up. I did contact Atlona to see if I could get some support. Unfortunately, they said I didn't buy from one of their authorized resellers and that they won't honor the warranty, so I was a little pissed off about that. But it's not too hard. Now that I know I can open it up, it's not very hard to switch out an HDMI jack. You can buy perfectly fine HDMI jack on like any site really for like $2 or $3, have it mailed to you. All you have to do is just desolder it, pop it out, and put in a new one. It's pretty easy. So that's what I'm using currently, the Atlona HD 500. I'm quite satisfied with it. No real reason to switch beyond what I'm using. There was another Atlona product that some people were choosing to use at one point, but I think the issue I had with that, oh shit, was that it had all of the cables built in. So that meant you like the VGA cable coming out was actually hardwired to the board, so you were sort of stuck with using that, as well as the HDMI wire, which kind of sucks. Okay, where is Achilles? Okay. Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to put you on pause for 1 second. Just had a little bit of an accident. Alright, sorry about that, guys. I ran into a little problem here. I'm back in the game. Shit, I grabbed that guy's weapon. Shit, grabbed your gear. Item. Item. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Let's see if we can make short work of this guy. Okay, come on over here, you son of a bitch. Okay, good, good, good. We got that sorted. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit discombobulated. There is a little bit of an emergency in the old homestead there I had to attend to. Okay, let's just try and take out Falls, because he's incredibly distracting. And we are really low on resources. Okay, in fact, what do we got? Okay, we got 3 trimates left, which isn't fantastic, but it's not impossible to finish the game either. So, and Achilles is down. I'm dead? No, 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 no. Okay, good, good, good. Wow, it's been a while since I've actually died while playing very hard against Falls. Holy shit. Okay, let's play this smart. Okay, good thing is my ring protects me against insta-death. Come on, get closer. Come on. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Come on, come on, come on, come back to us. Oh, of course he's gonna go in the center. Damn. Makes me think I should probably use my Android rifle actually, because it's got a better range. Okay, let's just run. Okay, good. It's taking my soul again. Mine. Okay, come on. Let's get up here. Damn. This is the most vicious Falls fight we've had in a long time. Shit. Okay, he must almost be dead. Come on, Falls. Fuck off. Okay, he's invincible again. Great. Okay. Shit. Shit, shit, shit. Come on, just... Nice. Okay, we're good. Sorry about that, guys. Things got intense for a while. Yes. Well, I have to admit, I haven't really been that worried about beating Falls on very hard in quite some time. Whew, that was a close one. Where's the beard? The beard is down the sink, my friend. But it'll be coming back. It's just way too hot here in Toronto. Okay, cool. Achilles has got my money. Let's see what we got. Thanks. Okay, where is it? Where's my cash? There it is, right there. Bang! Yep, yep. Got a full bank. This is my fun money. Okay, what do we got here? Anything worth taking? Probably not. Okay, good enough. Alright. Heading out. Let's go back to Pioneer and let's settle up what we got going on here. So, that was way more difficult than I've experienced in a long time. I don't think we got any good gear either, but maybe we can sell some and get something cool. The one thing we got to do is let's stock up with some dimates and let's make sure that our mag is happy. Yes. Yes. Yeah, man. That was a brutal fight. I generally don't die in BH against falls. Okay, let's go to our mag. Dreamcast, give item. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Cool. Alright guys, we're treating our mag right. It's about time. Anything there? Nope. Okay, let's see if our friend can use any mono grinders. Let's just sell some of this crap that we don't need. Okay, first things first. Go to the Techer. Bang. Yep, yep. What do we got? Anything good? Thunder Scepter. I cannot equip. Okay, well, let's see if it's worth any cash at least. Sell Thunder Scepter. Not really. Okay, we can use all this. We can use all this. Let's give our friend a couple of grinders just to be generous. Okay, we don't need any of that. Okay, cool. Alright, coming to the bank. Achilles, here is some stuff at the bank. So right now, all of our weapons are pretty much tweaked, so let's just get rid of some of these grinders. Maybe our friend Achilles can use those a little bit better than we can. Okay, we got a full house of cash. Alright, good enough. So, just keep leveling up Red Gun. Sure, why not? Okay. I can't remember how max stats work, but it will cap at some point. I should probably read in the book. I do have that manual, the PSO official Brady, was it the Brady Games Guide? I can't remember. Oh, Versus Guide rather, on Phantasy Star Online. So I should probably go through that. Okay. Going back to the lobby for a sec. Okay. Perfect. And so we don't need to go talk to the guild counter because there's nobody here. Or a warning quest rather. So let's just go back to the lobby and see what's going on there. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, wow, we got a full house. Oh, cool. Raquel's there. Wow, nice. Hola. We just had our asses handed to us by Falls. Good times all around. So I don't know who MSN04 is, but we definitely know Rakel, and I don't think it'll happen at that level. Okay. I don't know who Grencia is, though. Let's see who is over in game right now. Join a team. Okay, so that's our old quest there. Alright, cool. I can still not solo him. I should really complete the hard level on solo at some point. I just find it so boring playing offline. It's a 4-hour grind. So in case you know, or don't know rather, the only way to open up levels online is you have to play offline through the main quest. And for me anyways, I find it extremely boring. The first time I did just the normal level, I actually put it online here. It's on my channel, and I think it was about a 4-hour grind to get it done. And now that I know how to complete it properly, I think it might go a bit quicker the next time around, but still, holy smokes. Not that fun for me. Go straight to ruins here. Is Cannon Spike any good? No, it is not. You would think it would be a really fun, like, arcade-style shooter, beat-em-up type game, but when I got it, because you're playing with all these Capcom characters and stuff like that, I gotta admit, I was very, very disappointed. The control scheme is just really, really weird. You control kind of similar to Smash TV, if you've ever played that. And I don't like that control scheme, especially on a modern day system. It feels really awkward. No, you just to open up levels. Fortunately, you can go as high as caves and you will be able to open them. Hit in BH. Don't need to complete it. And Jaxer's back. Alright, so we got a whole bunch of people in the lobby. Wonder what we're going to be doing next. Well, it is a little after 12 and there's a little something I have to attend to, so I might have to actually put the brakes on this game for tonight anyways. So maybe we'll just say our good night and then we'll see if we can jump on again in the next couple days or so. Full house. Okay guys, I gotta jet. Something happening IRL. Catch you in a few days. Later, amigos. the Amigas. All right, cool. Save 1. Okay, great. So let's get out of our game here. What? Disconnect from network? Yes. Okay, so I feel like the conversation about the SD card and the USB reader is a perfect segue into what I have here. So I do play a lot of these games online, or on my USB gd-rom. But I do have a fairly decent Dreamcast collection. Okay, I think we're going to be done with this for now. Okay, so let's go to our full video screen. So I do have a fairly decent Sega Dreamcast collection that I've accumulated. It's not all from the North American collection. A lot of it's from the European PAL collection, a few things from the Japanese collection, but I typically don't go to the Japanese collection because the games that I do enjoy are generally exclusives, and typically you don't get the English language version of it, so it's more like shelf candy. I can't necessarily experience it. That being said, there's a lot of patches available out there for you to patch your games if you're using the USB gd-rom. So I thought I'd show you guys a couple of things here just to prove that I am legit. So here are probably my top 5 rarest, most valuable Dreamcast games. So the first thing I'm going to show you is my complete copy of Rez. That's a PAL exclusive for the Dreamcast. Really great game. I love Rez. Actually played a lot on PS2, which might hate me for it. I kind of like it better on PS2 than on Dreamcast, but hey, that's just me. Another one that we have here that is fairly rare is Evil Twin, which is another PAL exclusive. Another really great little game. There's a sequel for it. I can't quite recall what it's called. I think it's actually part of a trilogy, if I remember correctly, but definitely worth picking up if you can find it for cheap. I'm going to save this one for last, I think. Everybody's favorite, Mars Matrix. Even though it's a pretty decent shooter, I gotta admit it's not my favorite. I've definitely played better ones. In fact, a lot of people say Stormwind isn't a great shooter. I tend to disagree. I actually really like Stormwind. One of the few shooters I actually really enjoy. Now this one here may be a bit of a cheat because it's a homebrew, but it is a really cool addition. So that's for Pure Solaire, a game that came out quite a few years ago now. You can get it. There is a reprint, but this is the original Kickstarter exclusive for this game, the North American version. But I also got the deluxe collector set. So it came with this really beautiful faux leather bound strategy guide, full color. It's beautiful. I love this. It feels so great. It's a really heavy duty book. It's just really professionally done. There's a couple of Kickstarters out there that probably won't deliver with some of their promises on those things, but and it also comes with the Kickstarter exclusive collector's box. So maybe I can open this up real quick here and try to give you guys an idea of what's inside this little collector's box. Hopefully not damaging it too much. So when you take off the slip here, you open it up and you get all sorts of cool little trinkets. So what do you get here? You get this little card box here, which is kind of cool. You open up this thing and you'll see these very fragile little figurines, which typically I don't care for, but you know, hey, what are you gonna do? It's Pure Solaire. It was a limited exclusive Kickstarter edition. Figured, hey, why not? I actually got this secondhand. I didn't buy it new. This was not even as a slacker backer. Believe it or not, you can still sometimes get good things on eBay for a decent price, which will actually kind of lead me to the last item I have in my Dreamcast collection that's of any value and collectability. Now, if you're going to have a full Dreamcast collection, some people will say this isn't necessary to have, but I kind of disagree because it's an official game in the Dreamcast library. And that's this right here. So this is the Sonic Adventure Limited Edition. So full case, which is the most hard to come by, with the game right here. See if I can get it without having a little blur. As you can see, the top there says limited edition. full spine as well. So, you know, it's the full complete copy of Sonic Adventure Limited Edition. This is next to impossible to come by. There's estimated to be only a few hundred copies out there floating in the wild. Again, eBay. I managed to get this for a fraction of what the disc only goes for nowadays, but it was just one of those things. I guess maybe not a lot of people were looking at it, and maybe some people were. It was being sold in Canada, so maybe the person wasn't going to ship it outside of Canada, and that's why, but got it for an extremely reasonable price. It was at a time where I didn't have a whole ton of cash on me either, so I'm really glad I picked it up, because nowadays you're going to get that complete, you're looking at spending probably over $1,000 to be quite honest. At least on eBay, you might be able to get it in a private sale for cheaper, but it's going up exponentially. So I'm glad I got that when I did. My Dreamcast collection, I'm sitting at about half of the North American library, but I've got a lot of the heavy hitters out of there. I don't have a lot of the shovelware, a lot of the cheaper games, a lot of things in the mid-range too I don't have. I tried to knock a lot of the more expensive games off the list right away. But now that I'm starting to get rid of some of my older collections, not that I'm not collecting for anymore, and moving things over to more of a digital format, like with my PS2, my PS1 games, my PS3 games actually with my new Rebug PS3, and also with my PSP. I play a lot of games on PSP that are for the PlayStation 1 just because it's easier for me to play on the road. They had a lot of good RPGs, and they look great on the PSP. So yeah, it just gives me up a little bit more room to store all these things, and I want to have them stored fairly nicely as well. So yeah, I'm sitting about half of the North American collection right now, and a lot of the games that I do have are fairly hard to come by, but there are a couple of ones like Cannon Spike I mentioned, Mark of Wolves I don't have, what else don't I have, Illbleed. To get all those, if I was to get all the games that would fairly expensive at this point, I'd probably have to shell out about $500 or $600 for about 5 titles, which isn't the end of the world, but at the same time, I'm in no rush. Hopefully these things will just come up, maybe an open auction, I don't know, but that's the plan. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Let me know how the stream looks. I think it looked pretty good today, to be quite honest. I've been following it sort of in the side of my eye, and I did a couple of setting changes and stuff like that, and it looks pretty good. So anyways, maybe I've finally got this figured out after 2 years. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend. I gotta work nights the next couple of days, so I'm gonna be kind of, you know, trying to sleep where I can and work 2 jobs, but I'll catch you hopefully Wednesday-ish. Have a good week. Catch you then. Take care.